Hello everyone, this is included in week 12, final week for the research paper essay with abstract and works cited. On here I have just a brief overview of the primary requirements. There's nothing that should be of surprise on here. Everything is just detailed as a reiteration for the most part about things that were already in the summary, thesis, primary points of support, works cited, and then the outline that was due this weekend. Going to be including this still here, the primary contents of the subjects, the different topics for your review for the report topics. And then up here, going from start to finish on this, just the basics. The research paper is third-person objective, MLA formatted, formal, analytic, not argumentative research approach, including any analysis. Analysis means analyzing the content that you find in the research to show, for instance, if you're doing benefits of daily exercise, it's you showing what the benefits of daily exercise are in accordance with the peer-reviewed research. The starting point or question for consideration was given for each topic in the prior drop boxes. I included it down in the bottom here, as I said. Make sure that when you're going through on these papers, just do your best. You're sticking to the third person objective, meaning you're just presenting a report with the details in that framing. So you're not trying to argue one thing over another. There's not an argumentative point or an alternative to the topic or content you're presenting. You're simply stating what research shows overall for this topic, a good explanation of it, etc. The paper all students should draw from the content created for the prior submissions, summary of working thesis, primary points of support, works cited page, the outline of the abstract and works cited. Each student should review and make sure they understand the requirements of each component as they submissions before proceeding to the drafting of the paper, including the requirements regarding peer-reviewed full-text available sources from the OCC databases that include MLA citations with the DOI. Now, some of you were very close with that and were missing the DOI. I did go over most of those in both the summary, thesis, primary points of support, works cited pages, now with the outlines, and for the most part, I have found very few that are not actually in the system with the DOI. Not if you're actually selecting the peer review full text available and then you're using the citation that's actually included in our database. If you do a search on, say, the benefits of daily exercise, and you get your results and then you select from the left hand side peer review and full text available. Next thing to do would be to click on the title of what you're reviewing, review that content, and if you're going to cite that, you're going to use that as one of your sources, click on the citation function there. As I said before, sometimes it says cite, sometimes it's just two little quotation marks. It's right there underneath that after you've clicked on the title of the page. It'll show you those there and it'll include the DOI. So as an example on this, if we go back through this on library content and I click on here, and this keeps coming up with those same ones, and I say benefits of daily exercise, and I do a search on that. Didn't have to be in all caps, by the way. And I click on peer-reviewed journals and online sources, full text available, and I click apply filters. The benefits of daily exercise on blood glucose levels. Let's say it's my first one that I'm going with. Again, if I'm going to use this piece, I click on this. If I want the full text to read the entire thing, I can click here. It'll take me to an external source, ask me to log in again. It's your same username and password. But if I find this one to be viable, I simply click on the citation function right here. I select MLA 8th edition. Currently, the only thing beyond that is Harvard edition. We don't do that. We don't worry about that one. But the MLA, there is a 9th edition now, but there's not really much of a change in terms of citation at all. Changes have to do with some other types of formatting of some other resources and things. But you can see here with this on this citation function, you can copy that citation to a clipboard for use later, or you can just do the copy and paste like that and put it onto your works cited page when you're done. You just have to reformat for this hanging indent and then format it for Times New Roman 12. Just make sure that you note here on this, all of these that I've gone through have still included the DOI if they're MLA 8th edition. So make sure you remember this resource is available to you guys through the databases there when you're searching. You have these types of things. Some of you have accidentally included a permalink, which is not what I need. I need the citation for the works cited page. I can find this content without a permalink. Also, when you do this and you use the DOI, make sure that you do a right click once it's on the page and do remove hyperlink. We don't want it to be blue and underlined as a hyperlink. Back into the Dropbox for these. If we look down here, the basic requirements, 3 full pages plus the abstract and works cited. Now your abstract is going to be a short intro paragraph in terms of its format, like the look of its layout, about that same type of length. You had the layout of that abstract on the outline. Just make sure you're covering those basic content areas, and you're putting that in once the paper is done. So you have that. It's going to be your abstract, then your intro, then body 1, 2, and 3, and then conclusion. On the paper itself, you'll have this specific layout. You should have heading information. That's your name, my name, class, and date in the upper left. A centered title. That's in the center of the page. It comes before the paper itself. The abstract paragraph followed by the general to specific intro. That ends in a thesis, 3 bodies, each beginning with explicit topic sentences. Adequate support in each body paragraph, including 2 direct quotes in each body, correctly formatted and cited direct quotes from approved sources. Quotes must follow quote format, and a conclusion paragraph. The paper must be 3 pages before adding the abstract and the work cited. Remember, the abstract is written after the rest of the paper. Mostly everybody had that done pretty succinctly on the outline, so that wasn't much of an issue. Just remember, you have to have your work cited with this piece with 5 sources minimum. So then there's a detailed overview here that talks about some of the very detailed requirements for this. Again, must be third person, objective, analytic viewpoint, MLA format, and content requirements, including the heading, information, last name, page numbers, as well as the double spacing throughout without the after spacing. Many of you still forget to turn that off. You got to write in full sentences and proofread the writing for sentence level issues. At this stage of the game, there are still some students where at the sentence level, it's problematic for the writing at the beginning of the term, let alone the end of the term. And you really need to make sure you're getting on top of those things. I can't let those things go without having to mark down a great deal at the end of a 1510. For sentence level issues, I have students in the class who still do not know how to punctuate a clause, or exactly what an independent clause is. Some of you still write in complete fragmentation at different times throughout your papers. Make sure that you're addressing those things and utilizing ASC tutoring if you're not already doing so. All rules for general punctuation mechanics must be followed. Paper must have a centered title above the abstract. First paragraph of the paper must be the abstract itself. The second paragraph will be the general to specific intro that ends in the thesis. Paper must include 3 body paragraphs that begin with explicit topic sentences. All topic sentences must clearly name the topic for each body. Each body paragraph must include adequate support. Give the reader adequate support of the topic sentence claims. Major and minor in the framing. Each body paragraph must include 2 quotes, 5 different sources, and as major and minor supports. The quotes must follow this quote formatting, so detailed in bullets that follow off number 9. Read through these. Each body must have 2 quotes, 6 total for the paper, sourced from at least the 5 different articles that you found through the databases. All quotes must be followed by an MLA formatted in-text citation. Here's an example of one here. Example of quote formatting. It's intro, give, explain, or defend. Nothing's changed on there. Just remember, no block quotes. That means you're not quoting anything in this short paper that's more than 3 lines. Okay, I know that the official ruling on that is 4 lines or more. I'm saying don't go beyond 3. Okay. Only direct quotes that are formatted as such, in quotes followed by a citation, will be accepted as support. Passages of the submissions that are presented as students' own words to the objective part of this presentation of the content will be marked for academic dishonesty and reported as such. Do not rely on research to write the report. The research should support the report you write. Didn't mean for that to be a tongue twister, but here's the point on this. I have this semester, out of a few comp classes, I have 4 students in total who have violated academic dishonesty agreements. This is problematic for a number of reasons, but it's also the most I've had, not only in a semester but in a year's time at any one given time. It's more than I had for the rest of this year in total, to say the least. Students cannot rely on online sources to write these things for them. They must make sure that this is their writing, their work. The only thing quotes are used for is to support ideas you present in the bodies, because in an instance like this, like writing about the benefits of daily exercise or music therapy or whatever topic you pick, you're not an expert in the field, so you must rely on credible, peer-reviewed, sourced research. Okay? Do not have information. When you look at those match overviews, if you have content where you're relying on their wording, even paraphrase and summary of things from experts, I will not accept papers that fall into the category where all you've done is summarize and paraphrase exactly what they've said in their words, and it shows up as almost direct matches throughout the content of the papers. Very problematic, okay, and it gets a little dicier on some of these, and I can already see it on some of the summary pieces, summary thesis, primary supports, and then now in the outlines. A few students do have problematic passages where your wording leading into a quote is also nearly word for word, let alone the quote itself, right? The quote's the only part that can be word for word from the original source. You have to be putting the other things in your own words. The paper must end with a conclusion paragraph restating thesis, topic points, and concluding statement. Paper must include an MLA formatted works cited page of at least 5 peer-reviewed, full text available sources from the OCC databases. No external sources were considered or approved. Now, I want to say one more thing on this, and this is one of the things that's caused me a great deal of grief in terms of chasing things down. I still found that a third of students originally tried to put forward things that were just nonsense pieces from online somewhere, completely unfounded and certainly not peer-reviewed and things. But the main thing was the formatting of those pages. In the textbook itself, there's a picture of what MLA formatting looks like on a works cited page. And there are students who submitted things that I have no idea what it was supposed to be. Okay, it doesn't look anything like an MLA formatted page. But these things have been covered in the reading criteria for several weeks now, so there's no excuse for any of that. The works cited page must begin with a new page, on a new page with the works cited title at the top of the page following the conclusion. Works cited page must be correctly formatted, including the alphabetical order, hanging indents, spacing, etc., DOIs, etc. All the information in the research paper must be supported by at least 5 different peer-reviewed full-text sources from the databases. Primary contents, this is just a reiteration of what was in those priors for your guys' selections of topics. And remember, with each one of these, I still have a student, 2 students here, 2 students, 1 student here, health outcomes, and then media literacy. That you're writing arguments. I'm not going to play around with this over and over and over in the semester. I have 3 students in particular in 2 of my comp classes that are just insisting on doing whatever you want rather than what the objective is. I'm not going to entertain those things, engage with weird arguments and things that are out of left field when that's not even part of the content requirement of the assignment. So with those, make sure you've revised these as research reports. I'm not interested in getting into your side conversation or argument on these things. Straightforward, do the research, show you know how to do it objectively, and stick to the point of the research. Okay? Any questions that anyone has? Again, message me up here in instant messaging and let me know what the question is. If it's something simple enough, I will answer it right away on those, and I look forward to seeing these. I'll be putting all the grades are already posted and feedback and everything for the summary, thesis, primary points of support, and works cited. I'll be through those outlines. Not today or tomorrow. I still have them coming in tonight, so probably by Wednesday or Thursday of this week. For some students, if you did not follow the directions, it might be Friday, so make sure you're watching for those before you make a final submission of the paper this weekend. Every one of these must be in by the 18th at 11:30 p.m. I start entering the grades the very next day. So make sure that this is not late. I can't have anything beyond that time frame. I have to have all final grades in by the next day. All right? Best of luck.